Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ro and today I'm going to be giving you guys a breakdown of my best and worst movies of 2021. Okay, so this video is obviously going to be based on my thriller and horror films mainly, but at the very end I will give you guys my top 5 non-horror thriller movies of 2021. Okay, so we're going to start from my worst and work my way up. So I'm going to go through 3 categories with you guys, starting with my worst, then to the okay, like I enjoyed them but they were just okay movies, and then my best. I will also give you guys my best films that I watched in 2021 that weren't necessarily 2021 films, but they were first time watches. So I have 8 films in my worst category, and starting at the lowest is No One Gets Out Alive. This movie is an adaptation of the Adam Neville book of the same name. Unfortunately, this was nothing like the book. I really enjoyed the book. It wasn't one of my favorites, but I really did enjoy this story. I really did love the way that it unraveled, and the reason it wasn't a favorite book is because it was a little bit slow in some parts and it dragged for like 200 pages. But in saying that, I still think it's a very good book and you should check it out. Unfortunately, the movie was not good. So this story is about a girl who is basically poor and she's just moved to the United States and she's barely able to survive, and so she finds this place that's pretty cheap to rent out. The guy who owns this place is really weird and she starts to realize that things are a little bit fishy in this house. Yeah, that's what I want to give you. I don't want to give too much away, but it literally has nothing to do with the book. The only similarities between the movie and the book is that it's a girl who's poor who goes to this place. She can't leave because of a deposit that she puts down, and that's basically it, because they've changed all the names. They've changed the setting because in the book it's in the UK and in this one it's in the US. So just everything changed and not for the better. So I would recommend the book because it's actually good, but the movie is trash. I have The Unholy. This is a story about a girl who can suddenly heal people and she's saying that she's doing the work of God, but she is not. It is not really worth a watch. It had such a great premise and it had such a great story, but yeah, it was not executed well. So it had so much potential and unfortunately it was one of the worst ones of the year for me. I have Jacob's Wife. I only recently watched this and I guess it would be unfair for me to rank it here because I didn't finish it. I believe I watched the first 40 minutes and I was so bored that I turned it off. This is a vampire story, but it's done in a different way and it's supposed to have like comedic elements, but I just wasn't loving it, and yeah, I just decided to put it on this list anyways. So if it's good, I'm sorry, but it's not for me. I have Slumber Party Massacre. This is the remake. I absolutely love the 80s one, so I was really looking forward to this one, and unfortunately it wasn't for me. If you guys saw my recent wrap up, I spoke about it. Yeah, I just didn't love this movie. I thought it was really cheesy. I know it's supposed to kind of be a throwback to the 80s movie, but it just felt forced. It felt like the acting was just terrible, and I couldn't really get on board with it because just the story kept changing. And I understand the first change because at the beginning it kind of does what the original does, but then it goes into like the future and the story changes there. I don't want to give it away, but that story was okay. Like I didn't mind that, but then after that it does another thing and it drags, and I didn't love it. So I'm sorry about that if you liked that movie. I have The Woman in the Window. This is a thriller starring Amy Adams. I again read the book first and then watched the movie. The book was actually pretty entertaining and it was pretty interesting. It's about this woman who has agoraphobia, so she has a fear of like leaving her house, and she witnesses through her bedroom window that her neighbor gets hurt, and she tries to find out what happened to her, and she believes the husband is behind this. Unfortunately, the movie just didn't do the book justice. The book wasn't fantastic to begin with. It was an okay book, but I still did find it enjoyable. but the movie kind of lost it for me, and it wasn't very suspenseful, and they cut out some really important and interesting information that's in the book in the movie. So yeah, if you're interested in the storyline, I suggest reading the book and skipping the movie entirely. Then I have Halloween Kills. This one I know is going to be a unpopular opinion maybe, but I do think some people agree with me. I didn't love this movie. Some people really enjoyed this. I did not. I thought it was very cheesy. I thought the acting was horrendous. I really didn't like the townspeople. I have a whole video where I rant about this movie, so I'm sure you guys know how I feel about it. But yeah, I wasn't a big fan of this one, unfortunately. I am a huge Halloween fan. The first two movies especially, and Halloween H2O, those three are my absolute favorites. I didn't mind the Halloween 2018 movie. I thought that was decent and entertaining, but this one was just a whole hot mess, and I didn't love it. I'm going to link the rant video because I don't want to take up too much time here, but yeah, didn't love it, unfortunately. I am looking forward to Halloween Ends. Hopefully it'll be better than this one. Then I have Things Heard and Seen. This one stars Amanda Seyfried. I didn't hate this one, which is why, even though I put it in the worst, it's not the absolute worst, but I think I was looking forward to this being more, and it wasn't. I didn't love the ending. I thought it was just really like blah, and that is why I've put it in this position. And to be honest, I don't even remember what it's about. I just remember I didn't like it. And then the least worst of them all is There's Someone Inside Your House. This is more of a YA kind of story, like a young adult story. This is a slasher, I guess, but it didn't really feel like one. I know it is, but it didn't feel like one. I read the book first, and the book was just okay for me, but I was really looking forward to the movie because I knew the movie would make it more of a slasher. The book is a slasher, but it really follows the main character and her boyfriend a lot, so it's very like romantic, and shows too much of the romance over the actual story. But in saying that, even though the movie had the slasher elements that I was looking for in the book, it kind of got rid of a lot of the story that I enjoyed from the book and changed it up. The backstory, and they changed the identity of the killer. So it kind of annoyed me because in the book I really liked this character that ended up being the killer in the movie, and it really pissed me off. But yeah, it's not a horrible slasher, but it's still in my worst because I don't think I'll be watching it again. Okay, so now we're on to the not so sure okay type movies. So the movies that I don't hate, but I don't necessarily love either. I'm kind of like in the middle ground here. I have 8 in this category as well. So I have Antlers. So I just recently finished this one. So Antlers is a story about this thing that takes over the body of someone. It's very like body horror, like The Thing, The Blob, that kind of story. It reminded me a little bit of The Ritual, another movie I didn't absolutely love that I watched this year for the first time, 2021 for the first time I should say. But yeah, I just didn't love this one. It was weird, very slow. I was a little bit bored, but I didn't hate it enough to put it in my worst, so it's just my least favorite of the okay section. And yeah, I don't really want to say too much because I went into this movie blind. I did not know anything about it, and I guess like, I don't know if you will enjoy it more that way or not, but yeah, it was an okay movie. I have the movie Old by M. Night Shyamalan. I didn't hate this. I'm still kind of like tossing up between liking it and not liking it. I didn't know where to place this. I didn't know if I like really don't like it or if I liked it, so that's why it's here in the middle. This is a story about a bunch of people that have gone on this holiday, going to this remote area of the island, and they begin to age rapidly. Probably one of my least favorite M. Night Shyamalan movies, but not the worst one. I've got a whole video dedicated to M. Night Shyamalan and his films, and I've ranked them all, so if you're interested, check that out. I have Night Teeth. This is also a recent one that I've watched. This is a vampire story. It is on Netflix. Again, I wasn't wowed by it, but I guess I was drawn to it because I love vampire stories, and Megan Fox was in this, even though she's in it for like 2 seconds, but I love her, so I wanted to watch this, and it was enjoyable enough. I probably won't be rewatching this one. I have Candyman. This one is one of those I'm not sure about, because I enjoyed it, but I'm not going to rewatch it either. So it's not as good as the original, but I know I get what they were trying to do with it, but I'm not sure that I loved it. But if you've seen the original Candyman, I think you should give this one a go, because yeah, I feel like you might like it. I just didn't completely fall in love with it, but I didn't have an issue with it. I have Malignant. This is another movie that has people torn. A lot of people are die-hard fans, absolutely love it. A lot of people absolutely hate it. I fall in the middle, surprisingly. I rewatched this movie before I did this video because I wanted to make sure I was putting it in the right place, because I was still thinking about the movie. I think that that's the one thing that is great about it, is that it stays with you, and it's definitely a movie that has stayed with me because I kept thinking about it and how crazy the story is, and I knew I had to rewatch it before I did this video, and I did, and I'm glad I did, because I still kept the same 3.5 out of 5 rating. Didn't necessarily enjoy it less or more. I felt the exact same way watching it the second time, but I understood that it is what it is. Hi guys, as you can tell, this is a completely different day, completely different setting. I apologize for the lateness. This was supposed to go up about a week ago, but your girl got COVID, so I was sick for like a week and a half, which was not fun. But here I am. I'm still not feeling 100%, but I know that I owe you guys a video, and I need to do a couple actually, so you guys will get double videos this week. So next I have Malignant. This one was really tough to rank because I just have such mixed feelings about it. It is so weird. It is such a weird, strange, interesting film. This is another one that I can't really explain too much because I don't want to give anything away, but basically this is a story about a woman who gets visions and sees murders happening as they're happening, and she's kind of like in the room as they're happening. I don't even know if I'm explaining that properly, but that's basically what it's about. I feel like it's its own genre because there's so much going on in this movie that like it changes. It constantly changes. It's like, it feels like a supernatural film at first because of like the visions, but then it feels like a slasher, but then it also feels like an action movie, but then it also feels like a like drama mystery. It's really weird, and then it has like some comedic elements. I don't even know how to explain it, because just if you go into this, just know, don't take it so seriously, just have fun with it, and I think you will enjoy it if you do it that way. Then I have the Conjuring 3. Again, now I think from Malignant up, it's movies that aren't as bad and movies that I actually quite enjoy and probably will rewatch. And The Conjuring 3 is one of those. I think that it is still a great Conjuring movie. I know some people dislike this completely, but I really enjoyed the fact that it was not like the other two. I liked the fact that this was different. We weren't getting the same formula over and over again. Sometimes you just need something fresh and new. So I personally liked this one. So it's basically about a boy who commits a crime, and then he says he was possessed by something to do it. So then the Warrens come in to kind of help the investigation and figure out if this kid was actually possessed. And what's going on, really. So it is very different, like I said, from the first two, but I still think that if you enjoy the Conjuring movies, I still think that this one's pretty fun to watch. Then I have The Last Night in Soho. I know so many people absolutely love this. I enjoyed myself watching this, which is why it's pretty high on this list. I didn't love it. I thought that it was pretty predictable. Like, I don't know, I had a feeling I knew what was going on pretty early on in the movie, but I will say, like, the cinematography is beautiful, and this is so beautifully shot, and I was absolutely in love with, like, the visuals of this movie, so I really enjoyed that, and it was definitely very intriguing, kept me, like, hooked, kept me wanting to see, like, what is going on and how it unravels, even though I knew kind of, like, what was going on. The unraveling of it was really interesting, so I definitely think this is a movie to watch if you haven't seen it. It's a story about... I went into this one blind, so I'm going to leave it at that and not even tell you what it's about. I mean, it's kind of hard to explain anyway, and I'm not very good, as you can tell, at explaining things. So I'm just going to leave it at that, but definitely think that it is worth a watch. Definitely think you should check it out because I enjoyed it. Then I have Till Death, starring Megan Fox. I know a lot of you are probably shocked because if a lot of you know me, you know that I absolutely love Megan Fox. So you probably thought this would be in my best movies, but I can't be biased just because I love her. I really enjoyed this. I thought it was a very great thriller. It is a cat and mouse type of thriller, so it was just really fun and intense. I really enjoyed it, but it wasn't my absolute favorite. This is a story about a woman who goes with her husband to a cabin because he wants to bring back the spark in their marriage, and then something happens and she ends up handcuffed to him and he is dead. So she has to, like, try and get out of this situation, but then these guys come to steal, so these thieves come, and she has to kind of, like, hide from them, and they're trying to find her. And if you like movies like Gerald's Game and Hush, I think that this is definitely a great watch. It's a lot of fun, it's very edge of your seat, and I really enjoyed this. I thought Megan did a really good job in this movie. Don't go into this movie like super serious, just enjoy it for what it is. Okay, so now we are up to the best movies of 2021. Sadly, I only have 4 on this list, which is why I didn't want to make individual lists for each of these. I wanted to combine worst to best because I knew I just didn't have enough in the best category. I was pretty picky that year, and also I didn't watch a lot of 2021 movies. I watched a lot of old ones that I had never seen before, so we'll get to that list in a minute. At number 4, I have a classic horror story. This is on Netflix, and this is a foreign film. I really, really enjoyed this. It was such a surprise. I probably didn't love this as much until about 2/3 into the movie, and that's when I realized, like, okay, I actually really like this movie and it's going to be in the best list. So I don't want to spoil this one for you. I definitely think you should go into this blind because it is not your typical kids get stuck in the woods kind of movie. There's a lot more to it, and it was very unique and something that I had never seen before. So I definitely think it is worth your time. At number 3, I have The Night House. I love this movie, and I definitely think it's something that I need to rewatch. I actually watched this one near the end of the year, so it would have been in December, and I kind of hate myself for waiting so long to watch it. I really, really liked this. It gave me kind of a Gothica vibe, but it's a lot, I'm going to say it's a lot darker than Gothica. This is a pretty cool concept for a movie, and I just want to, like, point out how amazing the shots in this film were. What I really loved about this movie is that they didn't hold your hand through this movie. They let you figure things out on your own, and a lot of people kind of felt confused after this movie because of that. But I like the fact that they didn't try and spoon feed you all the information and tell you everything that was happening. You kind of just had to go along with it. And the jump scares were really effective. And the music, I mean, it was very loud. some of the scenes are way too loud because it's very quiet most of the time, and then suddenly like music will start playing and it's super loud. So that's probably one complaint that I have, but I think that that's the whole point. It's supposed to be effective, and I definitely think this is a movie that would have been more effective for me if I had gone to the cinema to watch it, but unfortunately I didn't. I watched it at home, so I didn't have that same intensity that some people would have had, which would have been a lot of fun, but I loved this. A quick summary is that this woman has recently lost her husband and he has left her the boathouse, and so she goes to stay at the boathouse, and then she starts to experience some things, and it's not your typical supernatural like ghost story. It's got other things, it's got layers, and the ending I'm still not 100% sure about, but that didn't take away from my enjoyment, and I definitely think that this was one of the best movies, not just horror movies, that I saw in 2021. At number 2, I'm cheating a little bit here because I'm going to be grouping this trilogy together, but I have the Fear Street trilogy. Now, I don't know if it's nostalgia that has made me put this so high on the list, but I absolutely loved this. I thought it was done so well. I grew up with the Fear Street books. I read the Fear Street books as a teenager, so as a preteen and teenager, so I really grew up with the Fear Street series, and being able to see it come to life was something that I had wanted for so long. When the Goosebumps movies came out, I was just wondering when the hell they were going to do Fear Street, and finally they did it in 2021. It took them a while, but they did it, and you know what? They did such a good job. I was super impressed with this trilogy because it is gory, it is scary. There are a lot of great scenes, especially in the 1978 one, which is my favorite of the 3. If you guys wanted to know my ranking of the 3, it is 1978, 1666, and then finally 1994. I still think 1994 is great, don't get me wrong, but it is the weakest of the 3. We need more slashers because you guys know I love slashers. They're my favorite subgenre of horror. We need more, not just remakes, reboots, or sequels. I mean, I know Candyman and Halloween Kills came out, and we were getting Scream in January, but those are like, they were already done before, so it's like already got a group of, you know, very loyal fans. We need new slashers. We need brand new stories because I really need them. Like, I need them. I'm being selfish here. I need more slashers. And finally, at number 1, I have A Quiet Place 2. This one is a lot scarier than the very first one. I still think the first one is pretty intense and creepy. I definitely think the first one's still my favorite, but the second one does have a lot more action, a lot more fun happening in it, and I really did enjoy this one. I thought it was excellent. It was just as good as the first one. It was written well and kept it pretty much the same as the first one. So it really does feel like a continuation, which is fantastic because I absolutely loved the first one. So I know that A Quiet Place 2 was supposed to come out earlier. I believe it was supposed to come out in 2020, but because of the pandemic, it was pushed, which is why it is on my 2021 list. So as you guys know, I did have first time watches in 2021 of horror that was released prior to 2021. So I'm going to give you a quick, rundown of that list. At number 10, I have It Comes at Night. At 9, Coherence. At 8, I have Cube. At 7, Suspiria. 6, The Blob. 5, The Thing. 4, Haunt. 3, Hellfest. 2, Better Watch Out. And 1, I See You. And finally, I have the top 5 that were non-horror and non-thriller. And they were Raya and the Last Dragon, Free Guy, The Suicide Squad, Zack Snyder's Justice League, and No Time to Die. So that's it for my video. Again, I apologize for the lateness. I'm so sorry. Obviously, I didn't watch all of the horror movies that came out in 2021, but if there is any that I did miss that you think that I would enjoy, please let me know down in the comments below. Also with thrillers, I absolutely love thrillers, and that's what we talk about on this channel, so please give me some recommendations. I would love to check them out, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.